Hello and welcome to another episode of Canadian Stacker. Today I'm at my usual spot. I'm just waiting for the crew to come down. Thought I'd venture out into the middle of the river today and film from here. It's a little bit difficult to get out to the rock, but I can manage her some days. But anyways, yeah, so what's been going on in the world? More Brics talk. More Brics talk. Can you believe that crap? More Brics talk. Wow. I think at this point we should rename the Brics, seeing as Russia is financially, not financially, but being militarily ruined. I'm not saying that the West isn't getting ruined along with them, but yeah, they're militarily being crippled up. And now you got India not wanting to step on any toes, so they pulled out of the currency and said absolutely not. So what are we going to do with the Brics? We got to drop out an R, and we definitely got to drop out an I. I suppose Iran could take up that I, but it doesn't have the same ring as India. So what would we call it? Would it be the what would we call it? Like B C S, the because yeah, that's it. Because I don't know. If anybody could come up with something interesting for an acronym with like a B and a C and an S, that would be kind of cool, I suppose. But yeah, I'm not saying they're still not members, but financially, like India's like, no, I don't want to do that. And Russia really wants to do it, but I don't think it's going to happen in August. I think it's just going to be a bunch of puff, a hot smoke that goes over. Now, what's concerning me more is that the Russian foreign minister basically stated that we are now officially in war with Russia. I know it wasn't on the news, and you guys probably didn't all hear about it because I read it in Pravda, which is that horrible Russian newspaper, that nobody in Canada should ever read, because heaven forbid you actually hear a Russian perspective on something. But yeah, the Russian minister there, he's a little more hawkish than Putin. Basically said, yeah, the guy that's supposed to replace Putin if something goes wrong, he's like, yeah, we're pretty much there now. So what exactly could that mean? The West has sure been saying a lot of things that Russia can and can't do to defend its own sovereignty, and seeing as we're the ones pushing into their backyard, it's not like Russia's come to Quebec here where I live and helped lead a separatist revolution and then tried to militarily arm and fund the Quebecers to fight against the Canadians. Well, the Americans bankroll us with tanks and stuff, Canada and stuff, to defend its back door. It's not that. That's not what's happening here. But, that is what's happening over there, contrary to popular belief. Ukraine is probably the most corrupt country on the face of the earth. Let's be realistic here. And I'm not saying that they can't be redeemed. The Ukrainian people are a wonderful people. Every country has amazing people in it, and every country has criminals in it. And I will not swallow Western propaganda on it, nor will I swallow Russian propaganda on it. I'm a neutral kind of guy. I like the way Trump said things. Let's just stop people from dying. That sounds pretty sweet to me. That's got to be one of the greatest words I've ever heard come out of that man's mouth. Let's just stop the dying. Why do we have to argue over who gets what and what gets who? The lines are where they are right now. Let's have a ceasefire where they are. If this was happening in Israel, the planes would be landing. They'd be like, oh, come on, Israel, you got to talk to Hamas. You got to make a deal. We can't have you fighting. Well, we can't have you, disrupting the oil trade. You can't be doing that, bro. You got to behave yourself. But, this isn't Israel. It's not, the Anglo Empire's birthplace, basically. No. It's Ukraine, and Ukraine literally means borderlands. Ukraine's kind of like a bit of a out of place thing. It was never meant to really be there. Poland's been in charge of it. Russia's been in charge of it. For the last 1,000 years, it's been the borderland and been fought over and never really been a country. And now it's a country, and now they want to use it as a border buffer between NATO and Russia. And Russia got promised by Angela Merkel that the agreement that was made would be upheld, which was not. So that's why he went in. You know, he didn't go in as some sinister big boogeyman just because. He went in because the West told him something, and then they took it away. It's like, here's your carrot, Putin. Here's your carrot. You know, and you better listen. And it turned out, like Angela said, all we did was we said that was to buy time. To buy time so they could give them more military stuff, more military hardware. You know, so the West lies, Russia lies. It's all bad, and people die from it. And, you know, like, this country is literally bleeding its youth away completely. All over wanting to modify the borders against two major powers. So the little guy in the middle is being forced to do all the dirty work, and it's not right. You know, like, I just want to say, by us supporting war in any way, and this is West and Russia and any country, we're literally, when we say we're going to defend another country, that we're going to take our children and our mothers and our fathers, and we're going to load them up on boats and planes, and we're going to send them over to a meat grinder, and a lot of them aren't going to come home. So when you say I support the thing, you're supporting taking other people's family and your family, loading them into a boat and a plane, because if this goes worse, that's what's going to happen. And we're going to push them over there, and we're going to unload them onto a shore that's not our own land, and we're going to force them to do horrible things against another country. You know, and they're going to be hurt, injured, and it's not right. You know, like, I don't know why anybody would want to say, hey, you know, let's not negotiate, let's not be peaceful. Oh, well, peace through strength. Oh, okay, so basically, if I can't get my way on something that really is none of my business, that gives me the right to go to my next door neighbor who's building a fence that I just don't want. You know, and, you know, might makes right. So I got a big 2x4. I have the right to go over there and tell him he can't build his fence, or I can't do this. And yeah, I understand. Everybody's going to say, well, Russia doesn't have the right to go in and do that. Well, I hate to break it to everybody, but if what I just said about Quebec being, you know, overturned in an election where the Quebec wants to separate from Canada and they want to join China, let's say, you know, they want to be part of that, you know, economic sphere, the U.S. would not tolerate that, and it would be a full invasion. It would be on. It would be on, you know. So you got to look at it from Russia's viewpoint. You know, Ukraine wanted to join the West. They wanted to join the EU, you know, through an uprising, and the provinces that broke away. I don't know what to believe on all that, but just look at it from the viewpoint of Quebec left Canada and they wanted to join up with China, and China started arming them against the U.S. in their own backyard. The U.S. would go in and they would take care of business, and don't doubt that. Don't doubt that for a minute. They wouldn't allow Canada to become destabilized like that. They would set up something to have that border protection. They wouldn't allow that. And Russia is doing the exact same thing. You know, U.S. wants to put you know, European powers in charge of Ukraine right on the border of Moscow. Like, I think war is dumb on both sides, and it's horrible, and I think both sides need to come to the table and figure something out. But I do understand why. So when you're looking at all this news, just remember, people's children and brothers, sisters, mothers, and fathers are dying. So when you're looking at this, we should always be looking at it from the viewpoint of, let's try to find a resolution that doesn't involve the destruction of lives. You know, and I know this is a bit of a dark video, but, you know, that's just where it's at. I am greatly concerned for my adult children that they're going to get sucked into this. My brother has a wife that's in the forces. She's going to get probably sucked into this. I got a lot of relatives that work for D&D. I've worked for D&D. You know, like, I could get sucked into this. I'm a civilian now. I was never a military guy, but I know logistics, and I operate trucks, and I've worked for the military, and I have all those clearances, and it's not too hard to give me, like, you know, 14 days. I've already got the outdoor training, you know, giving me 14 days of hand-to-hand, which I already have too, and, you know, weapons training. Well, let's be realistic here. I'm an avid hunter, and I know how to do that. I would be needing very little training in order to be brought in, you know what I mean? So when you're thinking about this, we need to think clearly. You know, like, Canada and the U.S. and the West would need to put an unfathomably large army over there to stop what's going on. And it's looking more and more every day like that's what's going to wind up happening. Everybody says Russia's weak, Russia's broke. Well, I don't know if you guys all noticed, the Biden's sending cluster munitions over, and his reason for doing it is the Americans, the Europeans, and the Canadians, guess what? We're out of ammo. And he said, now that we're out of that, we got to send the dirty stuff. That's what he said. We got to send the dirty stuff. I'm not lying. Go look it up. So, you know, like, as a Canadian, I don't want my country sucked in, you know? I don't want America sucked in further. I want peace. Like, NATO actually applied for, sorry, not NATO, Russia actually applied for NATO membership back in the day. They wanted to be part of the Bro Club, and they were turned flat down. They wanted to be part of it, and they were told no, because the North Atlantic Treaty Organization was developed to fight an adversary known as Russia. So why the heck would they let them in? You know what I mean? Like, NATO's there for this specific purpose. You know, they have a bad economy thing happening, weakness and all that. So when they can't keep you happy with money and fantasy and fairy tales and unicorn farts, they take you to war, and that's where we're heading. And my grandfather told me to watch for these things, and I've said this on the channel before. And guess what? We're seeing it, and I'm going to get people that say I don't know too much about nothing, you know, and you know, I'm just some guy behind a camera, which is true. I'm a guy behind a camera. None of this is advice. This is just me ranting. But I've been alive quite a while, and you know, I remember the 1990s Operation Desert Storm. We had a coalition of armies go in to stop Saddam Hussein, the evil tyrant, from invading Kuwait and all that. And it turned out that was all over oil. You know what I mean? Like, what has Ukraine got in its borderlands with Russia? A giant natural gas field, some of the best mineral in the world, amazing growing conditions for crops. So clearly this is about making sure that Ukraine can be carved off and can be used as a resource tool. So, you know, that's just my thoughts on it. Let me know below, you know, leave a comment, a like, subscribe. And you know what, I probably, like, I'm not going to be the most favored and beloved on YouTube, but hey, it is what it is, you know, like, I'm just here to tell it as I feel, and that's how I feel today. So anyways, until next time, you know, keep on stacking, keep your thumb to the sky, and, you know, have a great day.